ladies and gentlemen. There's a strange power in being misunderstood, in being seen as weak or even broken. We often believe that these moments of vulnerability expose us in the worst possible way. But what if I told you that these very moments are the keys to unlocking your greatest strength? Vulnerability is often seen as something we should avoid, something that exposes us to ridicule or rejection. It's frequently associated with weakness, an inability to handle life's difficulties with grace or control. But in reality, vulnerability is one of the most powerful and courageous things we can embrace. It's not something to be feared or hidden, but a gift that holds the potential for growth, connection, and true strength. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we break down the walls we've spent so long building to protect ourselves from the world, and in doing so, we create space for our authentic selves to emerge. To be vulnerable means to show up in the world without pretense, to expose the parts of ourselves that are raw, unpolished, and sometimes broken. It's the willingness to let others see us for who we truly are, not the version we've crafted to fit societal expectations or to make ourselves more palatable. Vulnerability invites us to let go of the masks we wear to protect ourselves from judgment and rejection. It challenges us to confront our fears head-on, to acknowledge the places where we feel inadequate or unsure, and to trust that we are still worthy of love and connection despite these imperfections. In embracing vulnerability, we step into the fullness of our humanity. It's in those moments of weakness and uncertainty that we often experience the most profound growth. Life is not about avoiding pain, hardship, or failure. It's about learning to move through those experiences and come out stronger on the other side. Vulnerability allows us to be fully present with the discomfort of the unknown, to stay open when everything inside us wants to close off. It's through this openness that we discover our true strength, not in spite of our vulnerabilities, but because of them. When we open ourselves to vulnerability, we give others permission to do the same. We create a culture where honesty, compassion, and understanding thrive. It's easy to believe that we are alone in our struggles, that no one could possibly understand the depth of what we are going through. But vulnerability connects us in ways that nothing else can. When we share our pain, our fear, or our uncertainty with others, we give them the opportunity to share their own. This creates a bond that goes beyond surface level interactions. It's a connection grounded in authenticity, where we can show up as our true selves and know that we will be met with empathy and support, not judgment. The strength that comes with vulnerability isn't the strength of perfection or invulnerability. It's the strength of owning our imperfections, acknowledging our fears, and facing them with courage. It's the ability to stand tall even when we don't have all the answers, to keep going even when the road ahead feels uncertain, and to trust that our worth is not tied to our ability to control every aspect of our lives. In a world that often values strength as the absence of vulnerability, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that it's through vulnerability that we truly learn what it means to be strong. The courage to be vulnerable is the courage to be seen, to let others witness the parts of us that we've long tried to hide. And in that act of being seen, we find not only our greatest strength, but also our deepest sense of belonging. Resilience is not something that comes naturally when everything is going well. It's not forged in the moments of ease or comfort. Rather, it's in the midst of adversity that resilience truly begins to take shape. Resilience is the ability to rise up after we've been knocked down, to rebuild ourselves when we feel broken, and to keep moving forward even when the path ahead seems unclear. It is in our darkest moments, when we are forced to confront our deepest fears and uncertainties, that we discover the true power of resilience. Life will inevitably challenge us. We will face setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles that make us question everything we've worked for. There will be times when we feel like giving up, when the weight of our struggle seems unbearable, and when hope feels like a distant memory. But it's in those very moments that we have the choice to either let adversity define us or to use it as an opportunity for growth. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain or hardship. It's about understanding that these moments, though difficult, are part of our journey. They shape us, refine us, and ultimately teach us what we're truly capable of. When we face adversity, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we are defeated or that we are somehow not strong enough to handle what life has thrown at us. We may believe that we should be invulnerable, that our struggles should be hidden away from the world. But true resilience is not about perfection. It's about showing up even when we don't have all the answers, even when we feel unsure or afraid. It's about allowing ourselves the space to feel pain, to grieve, and to process the challenges we face. Only then can we begin to find the strength to rise again. Adversity has a way of teaching us lessons we would never learn otherwise. It reveals the strength we didn't know we had and forces us to confront our limitations in order to break through them. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable in the face of hardship, we open ourselves to the possibility of transformation. We might not have control over the challenges we face, but we do have control over how we respond to them. It's in our response to adversity that we find our resilience. We learn to pivot, to adapt, and to find new ways of navigating the world. As we build resilience through adversity, we also learn the value of persistence. The road to recovery isn't always linear. There are setbacks along the way, and there are moments when progress feels slow. But each small step forward is a victory. It's important to recognize that resilience doesn't mean bouncing back to the way things were before the hardship. It means emerging stronger, wiser, and more aware of our own power. Adversity, while painful, serves as a powerful teacher that pushes us to grow in ways we could never have imagined in times of ease. The true power of resilience lies in the fact that no matter how many times we are knocked down, we have the ability to get back up. We can rebuild, reshape, and renew ourselves again and again, each time emerging more capable of handling whatever comes next. Resilience isn't something that's given to us. It's something we create within ourselves through the challenges we face. And in doing so, we learn that we are far stronger than we ever realized, capable of enduring and overcoming anything that comes our way. Authenticity is one of the most precious gifts we can give ourselves, yet it is also one of the most difficult to maintain, especially when faced with judgment. The fear of being judged, of not measuring up to the standards set by society, family, or even ourselves, often leads us to suppress parts of who we truly are. We feel the pressure to conform, to be what others expect, and to hide the parts of us that don't fit the mold. But here's the truth: it is only by embracing authenticity, even in the face of judgment, that we can live a life that is true to who we are and find the peace and fulfillment we seek. The desire to be accepted is deeply human, and judgment, whether real or perceived, can trigger powerful emotions. We fear rejection, ridicule, or being dismissed as not enough. This fear can lead us to put on masks, layers of false identities, or facades that we believe will make us more palatable to the world around us. We might become someone we're not just to fit in, to be liked, or to avoid the sting of judgment. But what we often forget is that these masks do more harm than good. They disconnect us from our true selves, and they prevent us from experiencing the deep connections we crave. Authenticity, however, requires a different kind of courage. It demands that we show up as we are without pretense, even when the world might not understand or accept us. It's easy to be authentic when we're surrounded by people who affirm and encourage us, but it's in moments of judgment, when we feel most vulnerable, that our authenticity is tested. The key to living authentically isn't about avoiding judgment. It's about learning to stand in the face of it and remain true to who we are. When we allow ourselves to be authentic, we take ownership of our own story. We stop hiding behind expectations and begin living according to our own values, passions, and truths. Yes, there will always be people who judge us, but judgment is not a reflection of our worth. It is a reflection of the biases, fears, and limitations of others. People will judge you based on their own experiences, their own insecurities, and their own worldview, but their judgments do not define you. Your worth is not determined by how others perceive you, but by the way you choose to show up for yourself in the world. Choosing authenticity in the face of judgment requires strength and vulnerability. It's about letting go of the need for approval from others and embracing the discomfort that comes with standing in your truth. It means accepting that some people may not understand or appreciate who you are, but also knowing that the people who truly matter, the ones who resonate with your energy, who value you for your uniqueness, will find their way to you. Authenticity is magnetic. It attracts those who are aligned with your true self, creating connections that are real, deep, and lasting. We must also recognize that judgment is not always outward. Sometimes the harshest judgment comes from within, from the voice inside that tells us we are not enough or that we are too much. That internal critic can be more debilitating than any external criticism we face. But the more we practice embracing our authentic selves, the quieter that inner critic becomes. When we begin to love and accept ourselves for who we are, judgment, whether from others or ourselves, loses its power. Being authentic in the face of judgment is not easy, but it is one of the most rewarding choices we can make. It is through authenticity that we find freedom, not the kind of freedom that comes from escaping judgment, but the kind that comes from no longer fearing it. When we stop worrying about how others perceive us, we unlock a deeper, truer version of ourselves. And in that freedom, we create the opportunity for others to do the same. Owning your story is one of the most empowering acts you can undertake. It's the decision to take full responsibility for your life's narrative, to embrace all the twists and turns, the triumphs and the failures, and to see them as integral parts of who you are. So often we allow external circumstances or the opinions of others to dictate the story we tell ourselves. We let our past define us, or we hide parts of ourselves that we feel others might not understand or accept. But when we own our story, we take control of our own narrative. And in doing so, we step into a place of strength, authenticity, and freedom. Owning your story is about accepting all the parts of it, including the parts that you may wish were different. It's easy to focus on the chapters of our lives. We're proud of the moments of success, the achievements, the good times. But the parts we often try to ignore, the times we struggled, the failures we endured, the mistakes we made, are just as important, if not more so. These chapters, though painful, are often the ones that teach us the most about ourselves. They shape our character, deepen our compassion, and give us the strength to move forward. If we ignore or deny these parts of our story, we miss out on the lessons they have to offer and the opportunity to grow stronger. Owning your story means accepting that you are not defined by any single moment, no matter how difficult or painful. Our lives are a collection of experiences, and each one contributes to the person we are today. This doesn't mean we have to remain stuck in our past. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and moving forward with intention and purpose. Your past doesn't dictate your future unless you allow it to. When you take ownership of your story, you release the power that your past mistakes, failures, or setbacks may have over you. You take back control, understanding that while your history is important, it doesn't define your worth or limit your potential. By owning your story, you also give yourself the freedom to be authentic. We often hide parts of ourselves because we fear judgment or rejection. We try to fit into a mold or live up to someone else's expectations, all while suppressing the truth of who we are. But when we take ownership of our story, we allow ourselves to show up as our true selves without apology or shame. We no longer need to hide the parts of us we think are broken because we realize that our vulnerabilities are what make us human, relatable, and connected to others. When we own our story, we stop seeking validation from external sources and begin to validate ourselves. This process of owning your story also means letting go of the need for perfection. None of us have lived a life without mistakes, and none of us are immune to hardship or pain. Perfection is an illusion, and when we strive for it, we lose sight of the beauty in our imperfection. Life is messy, and owning your story is about embracing the messiness. It's about being honest with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, and acknowledging that you are worthy of love, respect, and success no matter the mistakes or failures you've experienced along the way. Owning your story empowers you to live with intention. When you truly understand your narrative, you can live in alignment with your values and passions, making choices that reflect who you are and what you want out of life. You stop living according to other people's expectations or trying to meet external standards. Instead, you move through the world with confidence, knowing that your story is uniquely yours and that you have the power to shape the chapters yet to come. Taking ownership of your story is not just about embracing the past, but also about claiming your future and stepping boldly into the person you are becoming. Choosing courage over comfort is one of the most transformative decisions you can make in life. Comfort is familiar, safe, and reassuring. It lulls us into a sense of security and control. But the problem with comfort is that it keeps us in a place of stagnation, limiting our growth and potential. It's in moments of discomfort, when we step out of what we know and face the unknown, that we begin to truly evolve. Courage doesn't always mean grand, dramatic actions. Often it's the quiet, consistent choice to do what feels difficult instead of what feels easy. It's the decision to take risks, to embrace uncertainty, and to show up even when the path ahead is unclear. Courage is the willingness to move forward in the face of fear, doubt, or uncertainty. It's about choosing to act, even when you don't feel ready or confident. It's about pushing through the resistance of your own inner voice that says, stay safe, stay comfortable, stay where you are. Choosing courage means acknowledging that discomfort is a natural part of growth, and that in order to move forward, we have to embrace it instead of avoiding it. The most important opportunities for growth often come disguised as challenges, and when we opt for comfort over courage, we miss out on the chance to learn, adapt, and evolve. Choosing courage is not about being fearless. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's about stepping into situations that make us uncomfortable and trusting that we will be able to handle whatever comes our way. It's the choice to face rejection, to make mistakes, and to fail, but to keep going anyway. Comfort might offer immediate relief, but it never leads to the kind of deep, lasting fulfillment that courage does. Comfort is the place where dreams go to sleep, while courage is the spark that keeps them alive, propelling us toward the future we desire. When we choose courage over comfort, we also open ourselves to new possibilities. It's easy to stay in familiar situations with the same routines, the same people, and the same mindset. But by doing so, we limit our ability to discover new experiences, new perspectives, and new opportunities. Stepping out of your comfort zone means inviting the unknown into your life, and with it, the possibility of something better. Whether it's a new job, a new relationship, or a new personal challenge, courage allows us to seize the opportunities that are outside our comfort zone and to experience life in a richer, more meaningful way. The discomfort we feel when choosing courage also serves as a reminder of our resilience. Each time we step into the unknown, we gain more confidence in our ability to handle challenges. We begin to trust ourselves, to recognize that we are stronger than we think, and that even if we fall, we can get back up and try again. With every courageous step, we build a foundation of resilience that prepares us for whatever lies ahead. Comfort, on the other hand, does not build resilience. It only reinforces the fear of stepping out and trying something new. Courage is about living with intention, not by accident. It's about choosing to actively shape our lives, to take control of our own narrative, and to pursue the things that matter most to us, even when they seem daunting or difficult. Choosing courage over comfort doesn't guarantee success, but it does guarantee growth. It ensures that we will always be moving forward, even if the steps are small, even if we stumble along the way. Because when we choose courage, we choose to live a life that is vibrant, purposeful, and full of possibility. It's the kind of life that reminds us that we are capable of more than we could ever imagine if only we have the courage to step into it. Success and perfection are concepts that are often defined by external standards, by what society expects, by what we see in others, and by what we tell ourselves is the ideal. For many of us, these ideals become a measuring stick by which we gauge our worth and our progress in life. We strive for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect body, and the perfect life, believing that these things will bring us happiness and fulfillment. But what if the definition of success and perfection is entirely wrong? What if true success isn't about meeting these external markers, but about finding peace and contentment within ourselves, regardless of how we measure up to the world's standards? Redefining success means letting go of the idea that there is a singular path to happiness or a specific formula for a life well lived. Traditional definitions of success often focus on material accomplishments, high salaries, prestigious titles, or outward appearances of achievement. But this narrow view of success ignores the deeper, more personal aspects of what it means to live a meaningful life. True success isn't about fitting into someone else's definition or meeting society's expectations. It's about living in alignment with your own values, pursuing what brings you joy, and being true to yourself. Success can look different for each person, and that's okay. It's not about conforming to a mold. It's about creating a life that is uniquely yours based on what matters most to you. Perfection is a myth. We are taught to believe that perfection is attainable, that we should always strive to do everything flawlessly. But perfection is an impossible standard. No one can be perfect, and no one should have to be. The pursuit of perfection often leads to frustration, self-doubt, and a sense of never being enough. It fosters an unhealthy mindset where mistakes are seen as failures rather than opportunities for growth. But if we redefine perfection as progress, as the willingness to show up and try, then we can release the pressure that comes with trying to be flawless. Perfection isn't about getting everything right. It's about being brave enough to try, to learn from our missteps, and to keep moving forward. When we redefine success and perfection, we begin to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Life isn't about reaching a particular destination or achieving a specific goal. It's about how we grow along the way. Each experience, whether it's a success or a failure, teaches us something valuable. We learn more about who we are, what we want, and what we're capable of. We grow in ways that are not always measurable, but are deeply meaningful. True fulfillment comes not from the pursuit of perfection or the completion of a checklist, but from the joy and growth we experience as we navigate life's journey. Redefining success and perfection also means embracing imperfection. It's acknowledging that mistakes, failures, and setbacks are part of being human and that they don't diminish our worth. In fact, it's often through these imperfections that we find our greatest growth. We learn resilience, patience, empathy, and humility. We realize that it's not our flawless moments that define us, but our ability to pick ourselves up and keep going after we stumble. We start to understand that perfection is not something we need to attain, but something we can release, knowing that the pursuit of it is often the very thing that holds us back from experiencing life fully. Redefining success and perfection is about creating a life that is authentic and true to who we are. It's about living without the fear of judgment or failure and instead embracing the beauty of the journey. Success becomes not about achieving external milestones, but about cultivating inner peace, growth, and contentment. Perfection is no longer a distant, unreachable goal, but a mindset that embraces progress, learning, and the inherent value in every moment we live. In this new definition, we are free to be imperfectly, beautifully human and to live a life that is meaningful and fulfilling on our own terms. Human beings are inherently social creatures, wired to seek connection with others. The power of connection is something that transcends all boundaries, physical, emotional, and even cultural. It is the thread that binds us together, weaving a sense of belonging and understanding that makes us feel seen, heard, and valued. Connection is not just about physical proximity, but about emotional closeness, mutual respect, and shared experiences. In a world that often emphasizes independence and individualism, the importance of connection cannot be overstated. It is through connection that we find strength, empathy, and purpose. Connection is about vulnerability. It's the willingness to open up, to share our true selves with others, even when it feels risky or uncomfortable. In a society that often promotes self-reliance and masks of perfection, allowing ourselves to be truly seen by others can be daunting. But when we let our guard down and embrace the vulnerability that comes with connection, we open the door to deeper, more meaningful relationships. It's in these moments of authentic sharing that we realize we are not alone in our struggles, our fears, or our joys. We begin to see that others have experienced similar challenges and that we are all navigating this journey together. Connection fosters empathy, a powerful force that allows us to understand and feel what others are going through. When we connect with others on a deep level, we step outside of our own experiences and into theirs. We become attuned to their emotions, struggles, and triumphs. This empathy creates a sense of solidarity, a shared human experience that transcends our differences. It is in the act of listening, truly listening to another person, that we create the space for understanding and compassion to flourish. Connection, then, is not just about talking, it's about actively engaging with others, being present in their lives, and offering support without judgment. The power of connection also lies in its ability to uplift us in times of hardship. Life is full of challenges, and there will be times when we feel overwhelmed or isolated. But when we have strong connections with others, we have a support system to lean on. These connections provide a safety net, a source of encouragement, and a reminder that we are not alone. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or a colleague, knowing that someone is there to listen, to offer advice, or simply to be present can make all the difference in overcoming difficult times. Connection gives us the strength to face adversity, knowing that we don't have to go through it alone. Connection fosters growth. When we interact with others, we gain new perspectives, ideas, and insights that challenge our own thinking. These interactions push us to evolve, to question our assumptions, and to expand our horizons. Through connection, we learn from one another, sharing wisdom and experiences that enrich our lives. Connection not only helps us navigate the complexities of life, but it also encourages us to become better versions of ourselves, grounded in the wisdom and experiences of those we engage with. In a world that often feels divided, connection has the power to bridge gaps and heal wounds. It is through genuine connection that we break down walls of misunderstanding, prejudice, and fear. When we connect with others on a human level, we see beyond the labels, the stereotypes, and the divisions that separate us. We realize that, at our core, we are all driven by the same basic needs to love and be loved, to be understood and accepted, and to feel a sense of belonging. Connection is the antidote to isolation, a balm for loneliness, and a catalyst for positive change. It has the power to transform not only our individual lives, but also our communities and the world at large. Through connection, we discover that we are all part of something much greater than ourselves, a shared human experience that binds us together in ways that nothing else can.